Okay, first set of questions is around Agoda Hiring and how I got this role, what did I do, what was the interview process like, etc. So first thing is I applied. I applied manually, as in went to the portal, applied, no referrals, just straight up applied for the senior software engineer full stack role. I also applied a year before I actually got in, but I didn't hear anything. Then I applied again, maybe a few months before I actually got the first recruiter call, and then the recruiter reached out after that. The actual interview process was like, I think the best part about Agoda interviews was for me that they sent you a detailed PDF of what the rounds are going to be like, what the questions are going to be like, what they're going to test, what they're looking for, and so on. So for me, there was a online hacker rank round. Then there was an in-person hacker rank round with 2 lead code questions. Then there was a front-end platform interview, back-end platform interview, an architecture round, and then a hiring manager round, which was not behavioral, it was more architectural again. And then another round with the hiring manager to kind of discuss behavioral things and to discuss what the offer should look like with the recruiter. And finally, the offer round or the offer discussion, we'll call it. So that is, in short, what the hiring process was like for me. Okay, second topic is visa and relocation, and this was quite a popular one. But this was very smooth for me. For visa, they give you a non-immigrant visa. It's called non-immigrant because there's no pathway to residency or citizenship via this visa. I was really interested in this. It's called non-IB, which is a investment board visa, I think, because these are some companies that are certified by the Thailand investment board. So it's a 4-year work permit, and you can renew it after that. You can bring dependents on this. Agoda will cover your own relocation costs. It will cover your dependents' relocation costs. It will even cover your pets' relocation costs. They let you bring extra bag via flights, or if you're bringing an entire household, they will also let you literally ship stuff via ships, and they will cover all of that. But I think they only cover dependent relocation costs within the first 6 months of you joining.
Thanks fast for taking that. Taking the shuttle.
Okay, by far the most questions came about expenses and cost of living and taxes. So that's the next category. And I think before I head into this, I want to say my average expenses for the last 9 to 10 months here have been 52,700 to be exact. And it's not an approximation, this is an exact number. And why I know this is because I built myself an app to do this. And I've been using it for the last 10 months. It's called Ankan.app. It's in the description if you want to try it out. But the point was I was using a spreadsheet for myself before when I was in India to track my income because I was a contractor and I had to do my own taxes. And when I came to Thailand, it was out of hand. I couldn't manage taxes in 2 countries, expenses in 2 countries, income in 2 countries. And so I built this app. I've been using it the last 10 months and it's super easy, complete game changer because I can just text a Telegram bot and it'll just categorize it as an expense, an income, an asset, a liability. It'll calculate any taxes that are due, what country they're due in, whether it counts as taxes already paid. It'll create graphs for my net worth trends and so on, expenses trends. And it'll show me the expenses and income per month. And it's just beautiful. That's why I know. Now let's head into the breakup of this. So starting with rent, which is obviously the first and most important category. And I pay less than 20,000 baht a month. But again, this is so diverse. People pay upwards of 30,000, up to 40,000. People pay less than 15,000. Just depends on, I'd say, the size of the house you want, the location you're living in, the amenities, how important are the amenities to you, how important is public transit access to you? Do you have a car, or are you okay walking a long distance? Are you okay taking the bike for everything, right? And based on all of those factors, your amounts are going to change. But for me, I was more interested in living in a newer building with good amenities. And I'd say, although there's a lot of content on YouTube about not taking a building with amenities because you're not really going to use it, but I use the pool and the gym quite a lot. So it's been really good for me. The size, when I was coming in, I thought it would be really important to get a really big house, but I ended up taking a really small one, and it's been okay, especially because I'm by myself. So that's that. Of course, it's an endless topic, but this is high level on the rent. Then there's food and dining, and groceries. And for me, I don't cook a lot. I cook just maybe thrice a month. So the groceries are just basic, like milk, fruits, essentially just basic stuff. I probably spend about 1,000-ish, yogurt, just expensive brands, but I can do that because I don't do too much grocery shopping. Then for dinner, I have a meal plan, an Indian meal plan, which sends me vegetarian food every day. Lifesaver, I think, really, really helped me out here. And it's good, it's cheap. I think I spend about 3,000 to 4,000 a month on that. And then, or probably like 2,000 a month on that. And another 2,000 to 3,000 a month on my lunches in the office, where there is a small Thai vegetarian shop. So approximately, and you add up the random cafes that you go to, or just, hanging out with friends, dining out, ordering in sometimes, the total approximate spending on groceries and food for me comes out to be about 7,000-ish a month, 7 to 8. Next category is just transport. For me, it's 90% public transit. I take the MRT to the office. For anything else, I take the BTS. Occasional use of the cab, occasional use of the bike, where it's not possible to take the BTS. And there are places here that you will need to go where there's no public transit. So I think for me, it comes out to be about 2,000 a month, all included for transit. Then there's utilities. I'm seeing these on my app at the same time, so just excuse that. But yeah, so next is utilities, which is electricity, 1,000 a month, and internet on my phone, and my Wi-Fi, another 1,000 a month-ish. Water is probably really cheap, like 200 a month, even less than that. So probably about 2,000 to 2,500 a month on these expenses. Apart from that, you have your basic subscriptions, which is about 500 to 1,000 a month. It just depends on how many subscriptions you want. Then there is health spends, and for that, I haven't really done a lot of health spends, I think, because I have the Agoda insurance, and now here there are two options. There is the Thai insurance called MTL, or there is the Allianz plan. The MTL, you basically pay nothing, but the coverage is lower. I don't know the exact amount. For Allianz, you do pay quite a bit. The premium is not cheap, but it's covered, it covers basically everything. You don't have to think about it, and it's global, so it covers every country except the US. So I took Allianz. I've never had to pay for anything. Then there's entertainment and travel. So again, these are ultra discretionary, right? On an average, I think I spend about 10,000-ish on travel, because I do travel quite a bit. I've gone to India almost every month, either for like a festival or someone's wedding, sometimes even for emergencies. And then I've also traveled to Vietnam. I've traveled to the US, and this is kind of less. I used to travel quite a bit more over the last few years. But so travel, I think, about including tickets and all of that stuff, is about 5,000 to 10,000 a month on average. And entertainment, again, super variable. This includes hobbies, the classes that you take. I think I've enrolled in 3 or 4 classes. Then you have climbing gyms. Agoda subsidizes a lot of the sports activities. So for badminton, it's free. There's a ton of other sports options that's free. But sometimes you do pay for some things. So hobbies, just, onsens, random other entertainment things, movies, probably adds up to about, 1,000. It can go from 1,000 to 3,000. I think on an average, I spend about 2,500 to 3,000 on entertainment a month. And yeah, I think that's it. And that's how I add up to about 50,000, which is what I expected coming in. So that's good. But again, super variable. Your mileage will vary. Second part of this is taxes, and quickly, there's two kinds of taxes. One is the progressive system, which is kind of like India. You have these slabs, and based on your income, you will pay a percentage that's linked to that slab. Then there's deductions that you can use if you have dependents, if you have a loan on electric vehicles, solar panels, stuff like that. Then there's the other option, which is called the flat 15% tax rate, which is only for foreigners who earn more than 200,000 baht a month. And you have to earn this over an entire year. And you have to work for a company that's approved by the Board of Investment. And if all of that criteria is met, then you can have a flat 15% tax rate, but there's no deductions, there's no removal of income from your taxable income. So those are the tax options, and that's it. Next one is work culture and my experience working at Agoda. And I only have good things to say, and I'm sure people have different experiences based on their teams and so on, but I think I've been lucky. My team has been in one of the newer organizations at the company, so it's been, I'd say, intense because there's a lot of new things to ship and there's excitement, but also deadlines, and a lot of new people, so even including me. So getting up to speed has been hectic, but also I'd say exciting. At the same time, I don't think I've ever been kind of expected to work beyond any reasonable time that I would want to work. So I think work-life balance-wise, it's pretty nice. My colleagues are great. Mostly have been great. And overall, I'd say work from home, you get 1 month officially from the company. And that's what I've used so far. But also, you also get the 2 days work from home in the week. So you have to stay in Bangkok, but you can just work from home. So that's very, very convenient just to get stuff done at home while you work. So I think overall, work culture-wise, it's been great. Technology-wise, again, I've had great learnings because I personally had not been exposed to big companies before this. So I think just ways of working with other people-wise, I've learned a lot. Technology-wise, I've learned quite a bit, that just how things can be architected for larger scale and so on. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to grow within the company, to move teams, completely different organizations. And they're quite encouraging and quite positive about letting you do that. And I think with AI as well, they've been pretty, I'd say, AI forward in exposing us to all new tools that have been made available. The budgets are pretty reasonable, pretty high. So I think overall, technology-wise and work culture-wise, it's been positive for me. Okay, last but not the least, obviously, is the Bangkok experience. What's it been like? Positives, negatives, challenges, etc. And this is obviously a very subjective question, right? Opinions on cities especially are very dividing, very subjective. But I think for me specifically, I traveled to quite a few cities before I decided to come here, or decided to try and come to this part of the world. So in that sense, for me, I knew what I was going to get with Bangkok. And it's kind of lived up to all of those expectations that I had. It has great infrastructure. It has a great social, kind of lively event space. Lots of things to do, all kinds of things. So you can learn everything that you ever imagine you want to enroll in a class for, you can. I think fitness-wise, even within the company, but in general, outside, there's a really positive fitness culture. You can just go to the park and see the number of people running or just working out. It's insane. So I think that has also had a really positive effect on me. So infrastructure-wise, public transit-wise, it's probably not the best in the world, but I think it's pretty okay. Even same for walkability, it's not the best, but it's pretty nice. Safety-wise, I think it's quite safe, although there are these random events of, violence that will happen either to foreigners or just to general within Thai people sometimes, but I think those are one-off. Largely, I've never ever even thought about safety here. And I think most women also kind of agree, at least the people I've talked to. So I think positives are all of that, the ones I mentioned. The challenges that I think you can face, or at least the one that I face, is with food because I'm vegetarian. So there can be issues around finding regular, fresh, decent, healthy vegetarian food that you can eat every day, right? So there are the meal service that I mentioned, that's one option. Cooking can be a challenge with some building owners or landlords will be like, don't cook Indian food in my house and all of that stuff, or they'll keep your deposit. That I have not experienced, I've heard of, so this is hearsay. But you can figure it out, I think, if you were interested in healthy eating. There are meal prep services, there are vegan meal prep services, slightly more expensive, but those options exist because I think, again, there's so many people from all around the world, you will find the options that you want. Overall, I think it's a solid 7.5, 8 on 10 of a city.